Oh my God, I'm on the beach here, and look at these waves. Crazy huge. I'm scared here. I'll get sucked into the... I don't know if you can see on the camera, but anyways, we are here to talk about security today, and hopefully I'm secure enough and won't get sucked into the ocean. So, first thing you need to understand is it's good to have a basic understanding of how the cryptography works. There is a public key and a private key. Your public key is a key that you can give to anybody. They can't get your money when they have that account, but they can send money to you with the public key. And then your private key is what you use to take money out of your account. Now, if you want to understand this deeper, there's a book I read, I thought it was great if you're into this stuff, called Crypto: How the Code Rebels Beat the Government, Saving Privacy in the Digital Age by Stephen Levy. The history of cryptography, and you really get a good feel for how the public-private key system was developed. Very interesting. So anyways, so the key to not losing your money is to not lose your private key. If you have your private key, I mean, nobody can get to your coins on a blockchain, a real secure blockchain, without getting your private key. So that's, the key is the private key. Now, so first of all, just so you understand, when you leave your money on an exchange, they are holding your private key for you. Now that's okay. You know, if you have your money on a decent, well-run exchange, you know, you're probably fine, you know, but you're fine until you're not fine. If the exchange goes down, goes bankrupt, gets closed by a government, you could lose your coins. And similarly, this is something that I don't think is going to happen anytime in the near future. It may never happen at all, but if there was some sort of a fiat currency run on the fiat currency, everyone starts panic buying into crypto, a government could say, tell you what, if we're closing the exchanges for a minute so that we can control this situation, and then you don't have access to your coins for a while. Or if an exchange goes down, you don't have access. So the bottom line is, with exchanges, it's fine to leave some coins on there, to have your money there, do your trading, but for long-term storage, you want to get them off the exchange and own your own and hold your own private key. So, you know, one of the things I like to say is, you know, with this new technology, you can have your money and you don't have to trust anybody, but you have to trust yourself. So now it comes down to, okay, you're holding your own private key. Well, how do you do that? And there's, I think, a way I like to look at it is there's a scale. The easier it is to keep your private key handy, the less secure it is. And the more securely you hide it, the harder it is for you yourself to get to it. And so there's this balance. Now, first of all, I'm a buy and hold. So I have my money on the, I have my Ether sitting on the blockchain, I have my private key, and I never have to pull the private key out because I'm not sending it out of there. It just sits there. Now, one other concern is with something like that, so that's a situation, great, I never grab it, I can leave it hidden, it could be, not super accessible because I never need it. But the other thing to remember is, you have a good hiding place, you never go to it. 2 years later, do you forget where you put it? This stuff can get tricky. And if you're not an organized person in the first place, do not underestimate your ability to lose these things. There have already been an estimated, I don't know, how many billions of dollars, how many millions of bitcoins have been lost. Just lost. So let me talk, so to give you another example of that. So for example, let's say I'm saving my private key. An example of a very easy place to save it that would be the least secure would be, you save it to your desktop and you call it private key, right? Very easy to find, click on it, you have it. But if anyone gets into your computer, very easy to find. Now you could sort of hide it in your computer. You can get a little cute, put it in the, your family photo album, and hide it in one little thing, so maybe someone wouldn't find it there. But 2 years from now, you happen to not touch it for a while, and then you forget, wait, where the heck is it? Or you can just get it off the computer, right? Print it on a piece of paper. Or maybe what's easier is you put it on a USB drive. Hide it in your sock drawer. Well, and then one day you hire a new cleaning person and she washes the sock. Or you hide it in the closet and you forget about it, and it's gone. So think long and hard. If you're holding your private key, think long and hard about how you're doing that. And I'm going to get to the hardware wallet thing in a minute, because a hardware wallet is a type of hardware wallet holds your private key in even a safer way. I'll talk about that in a second. But that's the hardware wallet has a similar issue. Where do you hide or store the hardware wallet that is safe? And that's something for you to think about and plan about, and try to be smart about. And if you're not an organized person, think extra hard about it. I'm super organized, and I find this to be tricky. So be careful. Okay. Oh, and I had in my notes also, you may have the best hiding place in your house, but what if your house burned down, right? So you may want to have a duplicate hiding place somewhere else. Maybe get a security deposit box, or who knows. So, okay, think about it. Now, so then the next question is just technically, now, you have your own private key. How do you access your coins? Okay? So I'm going to talk about if you have an Ethereum or EC20 token, if you have Stellar, if you have Bitcoin, and if you have others. It's sort of all slightly different. So Ethereum and all EC20 tokens, you can access through, there's a website, which you should check out anyways, myetherwallet.com. That website has a lot of information. This is it's sort of a free public info, this open source community spirit type of website. They're just trying to help. Make sure you go to the right domain. myetherwallet.com. Don't go to myethereumwallet.com. You might go with a misspelling and it's some scam site. Be careful. I've gotten emails from people, hey, my slightly different spelling, etherwallet.com, come here and, just be careful. It's myetherwallet.com. And through there, you can create your address on the Ethereum blockchain. And so if you're in an exchange and you want to just hold your own keys, you set up your account through myetherwallet.com. You'll get your public key address, and then you send the coin from the exchange. You withdraw it from the exchange to send it to your account at myetherwallet.com. When you create your account on MyEtherWallet, they will give you a corresponding private key, which you don't lose. And that's how you set that up. Now, I'm sure you've heard about the hardware wallets. Ledger, Nano, S, Trezor, both very good. Then there's other Ledger Nanos. I have the Ledger Nano S. I think there's a fancier one. I don't know, but those, I believe those are all good. Also, if you're going to buy it new off of Amazon, or a store. Don't buy it off eBay. I heard about a scam on eBay where they sent you a thing and it was like a scratch ticket. Scratch off your passwords. And someone had the passwords and stealing people's money. So don't buy a used one, okay? Now, the hardware wallet is basically a little system, it looks like a USB drive. It stores your private key. So therefore, you can't lose the private key. And then you create these 15 passwords for the USB that you could use to recover your access, and therefore the private key. Instead of saving a private key, you're saving 15 passwords. Now you'd say, well, what's the difference? Why not I just save the private key? But and up until recently, I would have said, yeah, I mean, it's not that much of it. I mean, there are some advantages, but now there's because of this new bug that recently came out, this hardware bug, Spectre, and the heck is it called? Meltdown? Maybe you've heard about it in the news. Just the last few weeks it came out. Turns out that people could, so I should have mentioned also, myetherwallet.com is not a wallet like service. They don't hold your information. That website doesn't hold anything. It doesn't hold your private keys. It's just like a viewer onto the blockchain, and it's also sort of a tool that uses the blockchain code to send your coins out if you want to do that. But they're not holding any of your information. And so, so that we would think was safe. But with these new bugs, if you access that website by typing in your private key or pasting in your private key, theoretically, someone could have access to your computer and watch you as you paste it in and copy it. So there was a theoretical risk even then to using this, just putting in your private key at myetherwallet.com. Now, one thing to say about this is, we have a tendency to, you want absolute security, no chance of anything. There's risk in everything. Like I said, even if you have your private key and no one can steal it, well, then you can lose it. Like, there's always a way that things could get screwed up. So you got to think in terms of what are the odds and what's your situation. So, first of all, for someone like me, I almost never put in the private key into my webpage, to send something out. So what are the odds that at the moment that I do it, if I did it once a year, that someone would then have access to my computer and be watching and stealing, right? Sort of small odds. Now, so my point is simply, on one hand, we want to be as careful as possible. Let's also not panic. Don't overdo it. Like, another thing that, sometimes I hear people say, well, you got to get, and maybe this is good advice too if you have $100 million, but, you should have 2 hardware wallets. You're storing in different places and do all this stuff. And yeah, that's great. But if you're just like a regular person and you got a couple thousand in there sitting on an exchange and you're intimidated because the perfection solution is going to take a month, then calm down a little bit. You can do something easier. And so the point is not to panic with making your storage situation perfect right away. One step at a time. Probably, if you're just some average person with a few $1,000s, like, nobody's installed Meltdown on your computer to find your private key. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so let's all calm down and take it one step at a time. And it's better to make progress. I mean, this is true in life, especially in business and in investing. One step at a time, without worrying about perfection, is a better way to make progress than just trying to, know the ultimate perfect scenario and not acting until you can do that, because you may end up just leaving your money on an exchange forever with that. So, My Ether Wallet. So then back to My Ether Wallet. Like I said, you can put in your private key and log in. Probably no one's gonna see it, but there is a slight risk with that. So the safer way is to use the hardware wallet, the Ledger Nano, or Trezor. I think I'm gonna head the other way before I go too far. Ledger Wallet or Nano to log in. It's basically a way now to log in to view your coins or send your coins out from the blockchain without revealing your private key, because it's in the hardware wallet and you log in without using it, in a sense, or exposing it. So that's the safest way. And when you so now the other thing is, now you're going to start thinking, well, how the hell do I set up my Ether wallet? How do I set up a Ledger Nano? How do I... and I was going to sit down in front of the computer and do a tutorial, but you know what? Honestly, there are so many decent videos on YouTube about this. And what I would advise is to watch 3 different. If you're getting a Ledger Nano, watch 3 videos that seem reasonable about how to use it. Just in case one of them people are a little cuckoo. And also, after you watch 3, I think you're going to understand it, right? Same thing, My Ether wallet, lots of different videos. So whatever you want to do, watch the videos. You know, this stuff right now, it's early in the game. It's not super friendly. You know, my parents were like, oh, I want to get some Ethereum. And I'm like, oh, God. And then I got to show them how to do My Ether wallet. And it's like, it's too early, you know, for some people. And you have to have the time to research and study this stuff. So carve out a little time. Not a ton of time, but this is not fun. You know what I mean? Watching videos on how to, you know, set up your account at My Ether wallet is not as fun as watching, you know, reruns of Ali G. But this is what I advise. And so I don't have any exact instructions technically on how to do this, but it's not a secret. This stuff has been around for a while. Like, millions of people are using these. You'll find a lot of good YouTube videos out there. Watch a few on each. Do your research before you do it. Also, when you move your money from an exchange to your, you know, your private key, you know, your own private key, first time you do it, so if you have 1 Ether, send 0.05 Ether first to make sure it works. And then, if it works, then you can send the rest of it, okay? Because you be careful so you don't make mistakes. Okay, so like I said, My Ether wallet holds all EC20 tokens as well. Now, next, Stellar, because I've talked about it a lot now, Stellar has an option. They have the Stellar account viewer where you leave it directly on the Stellar network, Stellar blockchain. And I'll have links to a lot of these things that I'm talking about in the description under this video. And the Stellar account viewer also allows you to log in using your Ledger Nano. I don't know that they have Trezor. I know they have Ledger Nano works. So, again, you could, once you send it to the Stellar account viewer, you could just type in your private key to view it or to send the money out if you want to, which we're not doing. We buy and hold, remember. But a safer way to log in is using the hardware wallet, okay? Hopefully you're following the trend here. Bitcoin, I don't think they have any of these web viewer tools available. There may be, I don't know of one. Be very careful if somebody tells you, you know, you get an email saying, hey, save your coins safely here at my website. Be very careful. So I don't know of one. But you can store it that's where you would need the hardware. Your hardware wallet's your only option for Bitcoin. Now, and again, you know, if you're trading and you're using Bitcoin for trading, you know, you can leave it on the exchange, right? Again, the exchange is sort of long-term possible risk. And if you're sort of using it to buy something else and you're leaving it there for a few days or even a month or whatever, you know, again, we don't need to panic here. The market's booming. Like, if everything's just like really collapsing, and by the way, with the market down, you know, Bitcoin's been in a trading range from 12 to 16,000 for, I don't know, since the beginning of December. Every time it drops from 16, the news says it's bloodbath. You know, I mean, Ethereum, bloodbath. Ethereum's up 30%, 300% in the last 3 months. This is not down. Believe me, if this market starts melting down, you'll know it. Because this thing will fall really far to be really down. I mean, because it's gone up so much. It's not. There's plenty of liquidity right now. Anyways, I don't know what I was getting at. Sorry, got off topic. Okay, so Bitcoin, got to use the hardware wallet. Now, another point too. Once you have your coins in your own, with your own private key and, you know, public address, and like I said, you're just holding them there. But every once in a while, you're like, you know, I want to make sure they're still there, right? You do not have to log in with your private key. This is public. Remember, all the blockchain, the blockchain info is public. So there's an address you can go to, etherscan.io and stellarchain.io, and I believe there's a Bitcoin one too. Sorry, I don't have that handy. And then you put something in the URL, like etherscan.io, maybe / something, I don't know offhand. And then your public key, and you can see your account. And this is the thing where people talk about privacy, because technically anyone can see how many coins you have. For example, if someday if you start actually spending Ethereum and you spent $10 to buy a pizza, and if they have your public key. So if you told someone to send you money, you give them your public key, they can use your public key to see how much money's in your entire account. FYI. But anyways, I have enough Stellars. I want to make sure they're not disappearing. I want to make sure they're there every once in a while. So I don't have to log in with my private key. I go to the stellarchain.io / whatever the heck it is with my public key, and I see my money there. So that is kind of useful. Okay, now, I didn't mention every coin in the world, right? So what is the safe option for all of those? So first of all, there's a lot of coins that are compatible with Ledger, Nano, and Trezor hardware wallets. So if you have a coin you want to store safely, see if they are compatible with the hardware wallet. The other thing is, if you're on a blockchain that is not decentralized, or just for some reason isn't safe, safe storage is sort of an oxymoron, right? I mean, so, for example, Neo is not decentralized. The central people running Neo could do something and theoretically take your coin. So, no matter what you do, there's no way to have a purely secure scenario. IOTA, same thing. I mean, they actually recently had a thing, and the site was down for 3 days, or the system was down for 3 days, and they actually did do something manipulating people's coins. I can't remember what it was, and now I'm going to get a bunch of hate mail about how I don't know anything about IOTA, but anyways, let me see what else I was going to say here. Yeah, so there's a lot of some coins, to me, if there's no safe storage option, I wouldn't even get it. And if the blockchain itself is new and untested, what's this new one I heard about? Ray blocks. Read about it. Sounds cool. Sounds interesting. Novel approach. Hey, could be great. Brand new, has no volume on it. It's untested. It might be great, and we'll know that in 5 years when there's billions of dollars transferring on it and it hasn't failed. But these things need to be tested. It's one thing to have a math proof. It's another thing to have, many billions of dollars on a system with people trying to steal it for a long time, right? And nobody steals it. So for something like, this Ray blocks, RAI block, I believe that's the one. That's the new, it's got a new system. Well, maybe you're storing it safely, but the system itself isn't safe. So be careful with any of these new projects. People call me so conservative, so boring, because I own Ethereum. That's up 300% in the last 3 months. But you know what? It's safe. It's tested. Don't underestimate. And remember, we love to look at what is the upside potential. But a lot of great investors, and I don't know that I'm a great investor in the caliber of people I'm talking about, but I have come to learn to be more careful about the potential to the downside than the possible excitement of the upside. And with this crypto asset portfolio, it is exciting to be able to control your own keys. Oh my God, one last point I almost forgot. Another advantage to having your own private keys is free money, baby. So, forks. I don't know that there will be more super exciting, valuable forks like there was in the last year. But still, if there's a fork and you own your private key, you get it. If you're in an exchange, you may or may not get it. Sometimes you do. The other thing are these airdrops. So, I have my Ethereum sitting, on the blockchain. I got my own private key. And now I log in. I look at, I can look at what I have, like I said. and you can see all the associated tokens. All the EC20 tokens are associated with your same public key. And I log in and I got all these tokens I never bought because such and such company launched and they did an airdrop to everybody who has some Ethereum. And so you get all these freebies, and it's not a ton of money. And when I say it's not a ton of money for me, because I have a decent sized position there, but some of these airdrops I don't think are by volume. In other words, it's like I don't think they do it's not all the time. Well, if you have $1 million in Ether, you get this big airdrop, and if you have 1 Ether, you get a smaller airdrop. It's sort of like the same for everybody. So the smaller accounts may even benefit more percentage-wise on some of these airdrops. So I've got all these every time I go in, maybe not every time, but I've been surprised when I log in to look at what I have with Ether, and I got all these free coins. And there's been some of that with Bitcoin too. And so that's another advantage to having your private key. I think that's all I wanted to say today. I will not be swimming, because I think if I did, that would be the end of my videos, because I would get killed out there. All right. Thank you for watching. Talk to you soon.